So your 3-day training program.
Yes.
Okay, so take me through that process.
I want to talk to all the team members before. I talk to the doctor on the phone, but I want to talk to all the team members. And it could be even 5 minutes with them, but I want to understand what they need, what they want from it.
What do you ask them?
I ask them things like, if they were in my shoes, what would they want to change? What do they think the barriers are?
Okay.
And how would they want to fix it? And that's an important part of the solutions. Years ago, someone taught me in my work, and they said, Lorraine, you're not the answer lady. and I really believe dental team members have a vast wealth of knowledge.
Do they always say the same thing usually?
Oh, no, you really do hear different things.
Do they always blame other people rather than themselves?
No.
Okay.
So, I think there's a lot of brilliance within that we don't see.
Okay.
And so, I find they really want to see great changes. They're committed. So I get to hear it from their perspective, their viewpoint. And when you put all that together with the doctor, and then you look at the statistical information and the physical plan, it gives you a really good picture, right? And so I go through that phone process.
Mm-hmm.
I provide a great deal of supporting material before I come. First day is all observation. And observation is wonderful.
And what are you looking for?
I'm looking for the physical flow, certainly.
All right.
I'm looking for what kind of barriers are there in the physical flow or in the way we have things structured that affect our ability to make systems happen.
And you see these things?
I see these things. I'll
Like
give you a great
okay.
example. I was sitting at one of my clients. I sat in the reception room. And one of the issues in that practice is that some people didn't like that the administrator, they felt like she was talking about other people around other people. And also there were some issues with case acceptance. I sat in the reception room and I thought I could hear every word in her office because of a door right there.
About patients?
Everything she said to anybody, you could hear. It was like a loudspeaker, and she wasn't loud. So I thought, well, this is what's happening. And I said that to the doctor. I said, she's trying to have discussions with people, and she has no sound barrier, but it feels like she does.
Okay.
So that's how that's happening. And I can't imagine what it would be like to be a patient in your practice, sitting there while I'm hearing a consult through a door about involved procedures, right? So we just literally moved her office, and it changed everything.
That's a good one. I wouldn't have guessed that. I would have thought you had to talk to her, change her, but she wasn't going to change. Maybe it's her personality.
Well, and she did adapt
some
things.
Office.
And she really wasn't creating a real issue. It was just that her office was structured. Yeah, and you're an owner, right?
Yeah.
You need to have private discussions sometimes, and you got to be careful.
Okay.
So I look at physically what's happening.
So you're there the whole day.
I'm there the whole day, and then
what about day two?
Day two, then there is some of that, but really I'm able to look and help people one-on-one.
So you start interviewing people, talking to people?
I'm interviewing, but I'm watching them work, and I take people aside and work with them individually. I don't know if you've ever heard this about staff meeting, but have you ever heard anybody complain? I can always, like as an employee, I can always tell when I create a problem because there's a big staff meeting and everybody talks about my problem, but they don't say my name.
Okay.
Right? I don't believe in that. So when I work with people, I can see what their individual challenges are, and I teach people differently sometimes how to handle the same challenge. Okay. So for somebody that's introverted, the way I teach them to talk about money and fees might be different than somebody that has a more flamboyant personality.
Okay.
Day two is all about looking at the personalities and adapting really the processes to them.
So you're giving them feedback?
I'm giving them feedback. Yeah, and
private
it's individual.
Feedback.
Yeah, private feedback, and kind of watching them work, and they find that really helpful. Day three is a full team meeting, and it's not a meeting where I talk all day, and it's fun. They laugh, and we learn together. We problem solve and implement specifically to the practice. And one of the things I love about that process, you take a bunch of teams and you put them in one room together.
Mm-hmm.
I can talk systems all day long, but if no employee is going to sit next to their boss in a public room and say, Doc, the reason we can't do that is because you do this. They're not going to do that. But I set up an environment where it makes it not only comfortable but safe for them to do it. To be able to say, here's what we're doing that gets in each other's way, and here's how we can unwind that. And so we make that work together. At the end of that meeting, what I look at is I want them to be able to have the smallest, simplest solutions that they can implement to minimize the biggest challenges. We don't fix everything. I just want to fix the things that are going to impact them the most. And it creates space. See, now they're better. It creates space. So now we can do more. It's not so overwhelming.
So at the end of that day, that
Yes.
full day, usually everybody walks out pretty pumped up.
They're ready to go.
But it wears off. So what do
Wears
you do
off.
for that?
Follow up. And I
Okay.
let them know that's part of the process. It's when you look at improvement, people think improvement kind of has this line like this, and that's not it. It goes up like this, and then usually it spikes back down, because we're all having to do the things we did, undo on habits, and do new. And the key to successful practices is what they do here when it's down. And
Okay.
I think improvement kind of goes up, down, and it's
So
more
in
like
a perfect
this.
world, to do your job at your best and to make change,
To make change,
lasting change, what should they do with you?
with me.
Yeah. What services should they pick? Like three days and then once a month? What is it?
Again, it varies to the practice, but it's usually a year.
Okay.
Sometimes it's 6 months.
And you show up once a month?
It depends on the practice. It depends on the number. Some
Okay.
people it's every 3 months. So what I do is they get that first piece. Whether we plan to work for a year or not, they get the first piece, and they're in that, and they don't have to go any further, and so they get a really good feel of what it's going to do, and then beyond that, we usually go to a year, sometimes 6 months, and I have many clients that come back for reboots.
So every couple of years.
Every couple years or every year, I come in and I do a day, and I know everyone. You know people there. You have things in place. That's wonderful, because you can come in for a day or two, and it's amazing what you can get done, because you have the process in place, the background in place. And it's like the dental checkup, it's like the patient that has the really compromised mouth, and we want them to come back in every 6 months, even if they don't have pain. I think it should be like that for a coach, whether it's the same coach or another one,
Okay, good. Somebody wants to hire you.
Yes.
What's the first step?
Call me, email me.
So a free consultation.
Free consultation. I'll spend time with you. And if I feel like I can't help you, which is pretty rare, I'll give you the name of somebody
Have
that
you
will.
ever had to say that to somebody?
Yes.
You have?
I've said that.
Because of their attitude or because they were just a mess?
No, it was because of where they were at.
Okay.
It wasn't the first most important thing they needed to do. And so I could absolutely, they needed my services, but there were some circumstances. And I, in the end, you have to feel like, in the end, that you're doing the right thing.
Okay. So you're teaching them leadership.
Yes.
The office manager.
Yes.
The doc. How often is it the office manager is the problem, and how often is it the doctor is the problem, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I'm going to say, if it's the office manager that's the problem, it's always the doctor that's the problem too. Nothing happens in isolation.
Okay, good.
Nothing happens in
But
isolation.
isn't it true though, as a consultant, you can go in after you get rapport with the office manager, say the same thing she says all the time, and have more impact just because of that law of familiarity. They take her for granted.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
so sometimes it's good to have an outsider come in. I'm a firm believer.
Yes, and Randy, we are taking people, we're home growing them, right, in our practice, we're building their skill set. We put office managers in these leadership roles that have incredible responsibility, and we give them very little training in how to really lead people.
Okay.
We give them books, or we tell them to tell people to do things. Sometimes I'll say, do you want me to just give people a to-do list? Because anybody can do that. Or how about if we work at how we think? Because we are in critical thinking, variable circumstances.
Okay.
How do we help them do that?